NXT BattleGrounds and WWE Night of Champions. I got to get my shit back. I need to get the predictions championship back. So we got to predict this shit. So let's just roll that mother effing intro.
Free fall as I dive through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really wanna.
Yeah. It's weird how they set this up because you have your B show on the main event night and you have your main event show on a B show time slot because it's not in the night, it's in the daytime. But yeah, we're gonna run it backward though because we're gonna do NXT first and we're gonna do Night of Champions second. The crazy thing is I'm actually looking more forward to Battleground than I am Night of Champions, mainly because Night of Champions seems way more like just a gimme show. There's way more predictable matches and matches you can technically miss because you already know the outcome, and most of these matches are throwaway matches than the stakes that NXT Battleground actually has within their matches. So we're going to go ahead and just get into it on that end, which is first up. The NXT tag titles on the line between the Creed brothers and Gallus. This, in my opinion, is a gimme match because, in my opinion, Gallus is going to take it. I like the Creed brothers. I think that, they would be the ones to take this, but I really think we got a lot more mileage going in with Gallus, especially since Joe Coffey is back, that we have a lot more story going into that. At the same time, I think Creed brothers could be getting a call up at some point. Maybe not as soon as we would think, but I think they have a better chance of being called up to the main roster at some point within, I would say, before the year's over. I would see them going that way. But all in all, it should be a good match. But I think this is probably the only one of two gimme matches, because the main event, obviously, but we're not getting into that until then. Also, Ilya Dragunov and Dijak. Dijak, I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to give it to Ilya Dragunov because this seems like it would be going that way, but there's also that whole rumor that Dragunov could be being called up to join Imperium. So I don't know, but at the same time, I think if you are calling him up, it would be decent enough to have him going up strong. So as far as I'm concerned, I got to give it to Dragunov. Simple as that. Dragunov for the win on that one. I believe these are going to be in order. I could be wrong. The triple threat match for the North American Championship. Wesley is my man, 50 grand, and I would give it to him. I would want him to take it, but I think he's the one that I would least suspect to win this match. So I would honestly give it to Wesley. Joe Gacy is cool, but I think his stock has dropped significantly, and he could take it. I wouldn't put it past him pulling a trigger on him to take the title, but I really would give it to Tyler Bate on this one. So yeah, Tyler Bate for the win to become your new North American champion. Noam Dar and Dragon Lee for the Heritage Cup. This one is a gimme as well. I said one of two, but I think this is a third. Uh, Dragon Lee's taking this one. I'd be surprised if Noam Dar beat Dragon Lee for this, but I think they're trying to make good on their investment with Dragon Lee, so I think they're going to give him the win here and give him something before they start pushing him in different directions. Then this doesn't really hurt Noam Dar. I think that they're going to do something good with him at some point, but I think as of right now, it's going to be put on Dragon Lee. So yeah, Dragon Lee for the win to take the NXT Heritage Cup. Now, Tiffany Stratton versus Lyra Valkyrie. Now it's funny because Scoot had picked Tiffany Stratton to win the ladder match at Stand and Deliver, which none of us suspected that Indy Hartwell would have taken that title. But with Indy being called up and then vacating said title, it seems weird. It seems weird that they even put the title on her to begin with. Like it almost seems like it was meant for Tiffany Stratton to take that. So, and then and going by the brackets as far as the tournament went, it seemed that she had a much more difficult road getting to this match than Lyra Valkyrie did. Think about how she took on Gigi Dolan in the opening, and then go on to take on Roxy, and now in the finals, and then with Lyra taking on her second match was Cora Jade, but her first match was Kiana James. Yeah. So you look at that and it's like they really gonna give her the title after that quote unquote easy route for her versus Tiffany Stratton, and I think that they're ready to put the rocket on Tiffany Stratton. For those of you who don't believe that she has a rocket on her, some of you already believe that she does have the rocket strapped to her back and they're just ready to roll with it. But yeah, I think it's her time, and I think that she does take the NXT Women's Championship. Now, the main event. Do we really need to spend more time than necessary on this match? I think we already know that Carmelo Hayes, I don't think that they're finna pull, what they have been normally pulling with Braun Breaker. Granted, they could, do a whole hot potato with him because they did it with him and Ziggs. They did it where, they didn't really hot potato it between him and Ciampa. Ciampa just ended up beating him, and then he ended up beating Ciampa. But yeah, it seems like that he should have been called up relatively sooner than what they are what most of us would have predicted. But yeah, I think this should have been a one and done. I think that they're probably trying to make up for what they didn't do at Stand and Deliver, because the match, in my opinion, I did not care for at all. And the more that we hang on this without having it have been a decent match, in my opinion, especially with Trick Williams being involved, it's just one of those things where it's just not something that I truly care for. I hate that this is the main event for that show. AEW is going to sweep this show based on just the main event alone. So it's a non-factor, and Carmelo Hayes is going to retain NXT Championship. So it sucks that this show, as good as it can be, is going to end on this wet fart of a match. I said it. I don't care for it. I don't think that. No, okay, let me take that back. I think that they could do better than Stand and Deliver, but I think it's one of those things where the moment is missed. So even if they do a fantastic match, you've already changed the title. So what good is it going to do, even if Braun Breaker did, turn heel and Now you have this whole dynamic here. It doesn't really fucking matter. So, it's a complete non-factor. So now we get on to Night of Champions, which again is one of these situations where I wish there were better builds for certain matches, and I wish there was a better build to the show overall. But in my opinion, it's a means to an end. You know, we have to get somewhere, and I just feel that at this point, Backlash is going to turn out to be, you know, the better show of the two, which technically shouldn't be that way. You know, this should be a much more fantastic show than Backlash was. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think we're going to get these nothing matches. We'll get a few dark horses where it's like, okay, you get a nice little match here and there. But for the most part, I'm not expecting too much. You know, I'll be surprised if I get surprised. So with that, we'll jump right into it. Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. I really don't care for this match. You know, I'm glad that Trish is back. I'm glad that she's in a somewhat of a prominent role. But this match means nothing. I ultimately think Trish is going to take it. I think she's going to take the win. I think they're going to stretch this out more so than it needs to be. And, you know, then Becky will finally get her win. But I think that right now, I don't think it's going to be a complete one-off. You know, I don't think they're bringing Trish back just to, you know, have a one-off match with Becky. I think that she'll take this win. She'll get some momentum, and then she'll, you know, get herself in a better situation, and then they'll eventually run this back, and then Becky will take it. But as of right now, I put my money on Trish winning this, and there we go. Rhea defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Natalya. Do we care? I can tell you right now, I don't. And this is the first of many nothing matches. Come on, Rhea's taking this. Natalya, you talk about somebody's stock dropping significantly. Natalya is basically the Dolph Ziggler of the women's division. She is there to eat pins and make people look good. So, will they make this somewhat of a decent match? Absolutely. But that's all it's going to be. It's just going to be somewhat of a decent match with a, you know, nothing result. You know, it's a gimme match. And that's what Natalya is there for. You know, she's there to make Rhea look good and add another notch onto this title reign for Rhea. So, it is what it is. Another nothing match. Bianca defending her title against Asuka. Now, this should have been a one and done for Mania. Asuka should have won, but you know, they didn't run it that way, and now we're running this back to probably put the title on Asuka, which I think that they might end up doing. And it kind of sucks that they're going about it this way, because you had a chance to build a story for this for Mania, and now you get a second shot at it, and you're basically doing worse than what you did for the build for Mania. So you're shitting the bed twice just to have a different outcome. And I think this, you might as well have just set it and forget it. Could have just left Mania what it was, and then not had Asuka in this situation, but you put her back in a situation to then put the title on her to basically have her have a nothing reign. She's not going to look strong even if she beats Bianca in this situation. And it sucks, because now you're in a lose-lose situation where if Bianca does win, you basically wasted this whole feud. And then if Asuka wins, you've wasted the build, you wasted the feud, and you wasted Asuka because she doesn't look strong coming in and then beating Bianca after she just lost. So it's like, what are we doing here? So again, another nothing match that you could have slotted somebody else in, especially if you were going to just add another notch, just like you're doing with Rhea. You could have added somebody else, at least with Natalya. It's a fresh matchup, so to speak. It's a fresh matchup for the title. With this, you're just wasting what was already wasted at Mania. And you're probably just going to have a different outcome, which I see them taking the title and putting it on Asuka, because there's not going to be that many title changes. And I think this will be the only one, spoiler alert. So this match is on here to basically provide a title change, which is fucking stupid. So my money's on Asuka. There you have it. Gunther defending his title against Mustafa Positive Ali. I mean, come on. We should already know that this match is on here just to be on here. I do believe that this match will be a fantastic match. I think, Mustafa has been waiting to get a shot to show what he's been meaning to show and what he's been held back on. So I think this match is going to basically be meant to help raise Mustafa's stock. And I think Gunther is the perfect person to help him get back into some level of prominence, to at least put him in, a good standing within the mid card. So where I think that he's not going to win this match, obviously, I think this is a means to a beneficial end. I think this match is greater than the title, because it's going to mean more in the long run for Mustafa Ali versus him actually winning the title. I think him raising his stock and actually looking good in this match is going to be more beneficial than him actually winning. So put on money on Gunther, obviously, but I think the real winner in this match is going to be Mustafa Ali, based on him raising his stock, but Gunther's going to retain. We get into the first of the three main events, a match that again should have been a one-off, where Brock should have won that first match, should have ran through Cody and then been done with it. But here we go. I think they're just going to trade wins, and they're going to eventually get to a third match, which is fucking stupid. But obviously Brock is going to take this. I don't think he's going to do what he should have done at Backlash, but he's going to take the win. I think they're going to focus on what they should have focused on. Him basically ripping off Cody's arm, because just like I said when I talked about Backlash, and I said that they should have focused on the arm that his pec is attached to, but I don't think that's the arm that's messed up right now. I think it's the other arm. But either way, that's going to be the story of this, and he's going to look strong in defeat, and Brock's going to get some payback, and then they're going to go and do this for a third time. Fucking stupid. It's the Brock and Roman effect, but just a lot sooner and a lot more often in a smaller time. But I digress. It is what it is. The second of the three main events, which I believe this is the order that it's going to go in. I don't see it going any other way. At least it should go this way. I don't think Roman should be in this main event, which I think that's why they're doing it this way. I mean, one, for Brock and Cody, and then two, because you need to have Roman's name attached to main event, which is why I think that the main event that I believe is going to be the main event is the way it is, and why they have three main events labeled this way. So that way they can at least say, yep, Brock and Cody in the main event, Roman in the main event, and then the World Heavyweight Championship in the main event. But with this, they would be very ballsy to put the tag titles on Roman and Solo Sikoa. They would be very ballsy. Would I put it past them? Absolutely not. This is not that much of a gimme match as most people think it is, because they could easily pull the trigger and say, hey, let's throw more belts on Roman. But in my personal opinion, I don't think that they're going that route. I think what they're going to do is they're going to use this match to further the story of the bloodline and the division between the Usos, Roman, and Solo and Heyman. So I think the Usos are going to play a role, whether it be intentional or non-intentional. I think they're going to be the reason that this match ends the way that it does, with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens retaining the titles. So do I think Roman's going to take a pin in this one? No. I think Solo is going to be the one to take the pin. I don't think they're going to be foolish enough to have Roman get pinned, regardless of how many people say, oh, it's going to be his 1,000th day and, he's going to get pinned on his 1,000th day. It's going to be so poetic. Could that happen? Yeah. But as far as my opinion, that percentage is very slim to none, in my opinion. So yeah, give it to Sami and Kevin to retain, and Usos to play a factor within that outcome. Now, well, no, not that one, obviously, but what should technically be the main event, Seth Rollins and AJ Styles for arguably what could be considered as a secondary title, the consolation prize to the WWE. Lovely looking belt, but at the same time, the stigma that's on it is very damaging. So it does suck that the title does have this stigma, because especially when you have two fantastic professional wrestlers in Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. This match is bordering the level of a nothing match, and that's only because of the stigma that the title has. This does come off as a consolation prize, and it does suck, because it deserves more respect than that. But unfortunately, the route that we've taken to get here has placed that stigma on there. This is one of the situations that you get when you don't pull the necessary trigger, especially when you talk about Roman and Cody, which I'm actually gonna do a video regarding my thoughts on the way that they've booked this situation and go more in depth on it. But yeah, this is one of the things where you actually had an out to get to this point. And I think with the way that this is going to go, obviously, I believe that Rollins is going to be the one to take this, because he is very much deserving of it based on his character work and his givingness in terms of his feud with Cody and making Cody look good upon his return. But also with the fact that Rollins has been on point and is clearly, the fan favorite to come out of this with some gold. And where, of course, we talk about the stigma that this title has right now based on it being a consolation prize, I think Rollins is going to be able to erase that stigma, and I think he's the perfect person for it at this moment. Cody would not have been that person at all. It would have looked like he lost to Roman, and then now he's got something to where, he can just be second place. Rollins won't have that same stigma on him, because of the fact that I believe that he's going to be able to have the star power to wipe that stigma away and making this title mean way more. So by the time that we finally get into, the situation where Roman does inevitably lose, this title is going to have way more prestige. And I talked about this before when we first, when this title was first unveiled and they started the tournament. Rollins is going to be the person to make this title look fantastic, and he's going to be able to build the foundation that this title is meant to be built on. So, of course, obviously, my money is on Rollins winning this, as it has been from the very beginning. Only thing that I said is that I just wish that the story behind this was way better. They tried after the tournament when they did the build for this match, but I think it was too little, too late. I think they should have started doing that the moment that they announced this the tournament and announced the title. But we're here, and we're gonna get the outcome that we believe is gonna be the outcome, which is Rollins winning, and we're gonna see what he does with this title, and hopefully it comes to fruition that he is the person to make this title what it is. So outside of that, that's my predictions for Battleground, Night of Champions, and we'll get into the third show, the one I'm most anticipating, but that'll be in a whole different video. But hopefully, you see me when I do the review for all these shows with a piece of hardware strapped to my chest, but we'll see how that turns out. But until you see this handsome face and hear this immaculate voice and get some other predictions, I bid you all adieu, a farewell, all that good stuff. Whether you loved it, hate it, don't forget to rate it, thumbs up, thumbs down, leave all your comments, concerns, questions down below. If you think I got something wrong, if you want to predict against me, go right ahead. But with all that, until next time, you beautiful, beautiful mother effers, tag the fucketh out.
Dollars make a way to make a change. Gotta be insane to make them same mistakes again. So I'm switching lane to lane. Pray the curb don't scrape.